हाय, कैसे हैं आप सब? वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल सास with विकास and today video we'll learn the how to access the data. There are two options for access the data we'll learn today. And let's conclude the yesterday lesson. In the last lesson we discussed that how to create the data, what is data and what are the data types, and how to create the data with the input and cards. What is the data in SAS? What is the SAS table? The observation and the variable, that is variable we discussed. What are the things important for that? The attribute for the variable which is required for creating the data. We all see all things like okay. So these are the four important for creating the data. That is not our work. That's for the clinical data management, which gather the data from CRF, that is clinical uh, case report form. That from that the data is gathered, collected, and after that we got that data. That this is the data. Then you have to process that. So our being a statistical programmer, the work is after accessing the data, we need to explore that data, we need to validate the data, we need to prepare the data, we need to analyze the data. All thing whatever after accessing we need to do, complete the process. The This is just because suppose we having any organization, that organization having issue, that any business problem or any clinical trial is going on. So for that thing we need to do this process, complete process, from access to till export the data. That this is the process as we also discussed in the last lesson. So what is this access data accessing, and why is this important? This is data accessing just because there are many kind of data, many types of data, that is structured data and unstructured data. So as we also discussed this one, and this is just because important. So we can once we got the data from any organization, then we have to upload that data on the server file and folder. So with the using this upload option, we need to use this choose file, and from our the gallery or the from download section we can access that data on the server and file folder. So once that data is got on the server and file folder, then we need to use that data. We need to use that data for the data manipulation, data accessing, that all thing like exploring and validating and the preparing data, all thing we need to use that one. That's why we need to access that data. And there are two basic process for data accessing. Is first one is with the using library, that with the using library we can access the data, and second one is also with the using proc import, that is importing unstructured data. So what are the different in this, like why there are two options, with using library and with using proc import? So major difference within these both are like uh, the structured data, the data which have the defined column uh, can be accessed with the use of library, and the unstructured data, the data which don't have the defined column, or else we can also access structured data also with the proc import. So basically the proc import is also used for data accessing the unstructured data, and there are syntax for the accessing data with the using lib name and with the using proc import. So let's understand each everything by proper syntax and with example also. So the first thing is by using the library we need to access the data. The basic syntax for the accessing the data we using library we'll learn here. And one more thing before moving forward, I want to explain you. In SAS coding window, we need to that coding window only read the syntax, the statement. That statement end with the semicolon only. We can that coding window read that one. Apart from that, any word or a statement or sentence we are writing that, then we need to comment that all sentence. And for your information, I just want to explain that the if you want to comment that any line or a sentence or any statement, then you have to use that control and forward slash button. And if you want to also uncomment that statement, then using that control and forward slash, that line, all line will be uncommented. So this is just very important. If you want to know, keep note on the your coding skills. For that, you need to comment that line or a statement or sentence or any word that is. That is important. So what is the data accessing with the using library? So there is syntax like we will use the library for data accessing of structured data. So basic syntax for the library is live name and live ref engine and then path in the double inverted comma and then semicolon. So what are the important word in this syntax is like live name is just because we want to create any library. As in the last lesson we saw that data I was writing there just because I want to create in data. And here we are writing here live name just because we want to create a live name library. What is library here? Library is the name of library. What will be the library name? We will note down at the position of library. And what will the engine of that one? What is the type of data is that we need to write here at the engine position. And in the path, we need to show that data location, that where that data is located. We need to use that in the double inverted comma. Then in with the semicolon. And as we know, this Libname is a global statement, so there's no need of you write there run statement. We will see on in the upcoming video. This is a global and local statement that all we will learn also that global and local. What is global statement and what is local statement. So just for your kind just information or knowledge, I just shared with you here. Like live name is a global statement. That's why we don't need a run statement after the live name. That is important. Okay. So as we saw that live name is the library is a name of library. So there is some condition where for the name of library is it's of 8 character maximum. We can't keep the live name that is the name of library of maximum of 8 character, and it must be start with a letter or underscore, and after this you can continue with the letter number or any underscore. That is the condition for the name that is on the libre position. And in the engine we have also already discussed that what is the type of data you want, that you have to type. Suppose the structured data is like SAS, Excel, any other Hadoop file, all the thing you have to give their engine what type of file is there, like you have to mention there. And the path of the just have to use that properties of that one. Suppose I'm taking this data, so I will right click and using the properties of that one. From that we can select that location with the using control C, that control A and control C. That is the path of that all data. So this is the complete syntax for accessing the data with the using library. Why will you use the library? Just because structured data. What is the structured data? Already discussed that the defined columns. Those who have the defined column is the structured data. Now, what is the use of that one? We understand with the help of example. As I have to comment all the line, like questions. Just after that, the syntax or any code will run. Like okay, so just be careful while writing anything on the coding window. You have to comment that all so that we can see the libname is showing now syntax. So libname, as we discussed, the for the creating any library or accessing the data with the using library. So I will need writing here libname. Libname, after libname we need to give the library, that is the name of library. I am keeping this name of the library is Kumar, and as the engine, that is the for the SAS file, uh, the engine for the SAS file is base. Similarly for the uh, Excel file we are using XLXS. So this is the engine of that file. No need to worry about that this much now. You will got all thing in the upcoming video. So just for your knowledge, just have to how to access that data with the using library. Just you have to know from here what is the syntax, how we are going to create all things. Okay. So no need to worry. Okay. Or after the engine name, you have to keep the location of the file. Suppose I'm taking this file, so I'm using these properties of this file. Like from here, I'm controlling all and controlling copy paste there and the double inverted comma. And after this, we have to use end with the semicolon. Just after running this one, you will got the uh, Kumar library name, and the file of the within that library will be character underscore first. So this is about the uh, this is about you will got what I discussed, like how this is by this way we can create or we can access the data with using library, or this is the also syntax for creating any library. So one more thing important, like for the SAS data set, so for the SAS file, no need to give the engine for that one. And if you are using the SAS, so why will give the engine of that one? If you are not giving the instead of the engine position, if you are not giving the base, so it will also give the same result. So apart from the SAS file, if you have any other file, then you have to give the engine. Similarly, if suppose we have this file, the file is in the extension of XLSX. So for by here extension we can see that this is the Excel file. So for that one we need to give the engine. The engine of this Excel file is XLSX. And one more important thing in the Excel file is for before using the library we need to use options valid var name is equal to v7, just because it gives the SAS properties, like the that we already know, like the Excel file don't have the column on the variable, so that Excel file will be converted into SAS file. That means it will give the column name and the observation name by the SAS portfolio. That's why we are using option valid var name is equal to v7. Okay. Similarly, if you already created this library, so you can check by this library option, and here your file will be created. If you run this program, then that file or that library will be created in this, stored in this my library. By there you can also see. And if you are not creating in library and running this that program, that by default will go in work library. As we didn't run any program or data, that's why there is no any data in the work library. So this is about the library creation and accessing the data with the library. So we can access the structured data with the use of library. A structured data is those who have the defined column. So this is all about for the accessing the data with using library. Suppose you already created the data and you want to you already created the library, and if you want to clear that library, so there is also a syntax for that clearing the library. For clearing the library, we need to use libname vcast the library name, and clear for clearing that library. This is for your information. And again, the second option for the accessing data, for the accessing unstructured data, that is the very good for that word. Like for the, accessing the unstructured data into SAS, we will use proc import. So there's some syntax for the proc imports, like proc import data file is equal to the file and the path of that file and file name with the extension you want that file will be in this format extension, and dbms shows the data file extension that CSV file is, that is. And out is equal to output table, like what will be the output table or output file name you have to keep it stored in the out option syntax. After this replace, once you already done this one data and make some changes in that data also. So if you are using this replace option, so again if you are running that one, that all data will be stored in the current data. So this is basic syntax for the proc import. Proc import data file is equal to, in the double inverted comma you have to use that path Then you have to, after forward slash, you have to give the file name with the extension in which you want that file. Okay, that file will be in the extension in which way you have to give there. Again, you have to store that dbms, the data in which what type of data you want that have csv, that data will be you have to note down in the dbms, and out for the what will be the data name in the output, it will show here there. And replace, just because if we are making any change in the data, original data, and we want to replace that one in the current data, so we will use this replace, that's it. For the example, I just explain you the like proc import data file. I uses this character function here, and as you can see that I had mentioned that CSV file and dbms is equal to CSV output. I want to keep that in the output is equal to character underscore font underscore important. And just after if after checking that data, after importing that data, if you are to make changes with that any data, then that's why we are using replace. After that, if you again run this proc import, that it will change the current data by using the replace option. So this is about the data accessing. There are two option. There are two option for the data accessing for the with the using library and with the using proc import. There are some different work for the like the using library and with the proc import. So this is all about for today, and from tomorrow we will discuss all the function, what are the conditional statement, all the thing, the important like till now we got the how to access the data. Once we access the data, our work is to explore the data and to validate the data. The first work is our. So from tomorrow we will learn that the explore the data and validate the data also. Okay, thank you so much.